surgery to get it taken out. They lay me down on the table. They put like a metal frame up with a curtain, and the doctor puts a needle into my dick. And there's a nurse, and her sole job is to take all the blood away from the sliced up cock. And there's another nurse, and her sole job is to hold my hand whilst my cock is being sliced up and to distract me from the mutilation. And she's holding my hand and she looks at me and she goes, "So, I hear you're a comedian." And I went, "Yeah, I'm a comedian. Why don't you tell us all a joke?" "Why don't you fuck off?" And then they put like 6 stitches into my cock. Like, these aren't like the big ones they use like on your head or your arm. These are like tiny, fine, small ones that they use like on babies' arms. And the doctor tells me not to get an erection for 3 weeks. I was fucking moody. I wasn't a good kind of beer, man. At the end of the 3 weeks, I was ready for my comeback wank. I hadn't even touched my cock. I tried not to think about my cock. My balls had never been so full in my entire life. In fact, the stitches dissolved, and I told my girlfriend they were still not dissolved so I could have a wank before I fucked her. I put some porn on, and I got some lube, right? Now, ordinarily, I'm not that fancy. I'm more of a dry hand sort of guy. But I thought, it's been a while, Jim. Treat yourself. So I lubed up my cock, and I'm talking 5 pumps maximum, just and out of my cock came this thick gelatin-like cum. It was like it was trying to make a baby without the womb. And I looked at it, and I swear to God, it fucking looked back at me. So I shook its hand. Anyway, that's all I have to say about dick cancer. Except, don't you think that dick cancer sounds like a war correspondent? Like a guy from the news that you'd really trust? That's just me. I've done gigs out in fucking Baghdad and Iraq and all that. I've been out there, man. It's fucking mental. When you go out there, you realise that the other team don't really know they're involved. Like all the other old wars. You can say what you want about the Nazis, but they always look good, right? You can always pick them out of a crowd, right? This enemy, the Taliban, I can't, they don't have an outfit. And I was there on the first day, the first day I was there, and I was in a helicopter flying over the top of Baghdad with my helmet on, my bulletproof vest, thinking I look as cool as fuck, right? The helicopter window's open, there's a guy with a gun just sort of scouring the ground, right? I look out, I see a little bloke with a handgun just shooting up at the helicopter, just bang, 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 bang. And I fucking freak out, right? I'm like, "Oh, fuck, we're being fired on." And the gunner turns around and goes, "Don't worry about it. We're too high up. Those bullets can't reach us." And then he went, "Hey, look at this." And the little cunt died. And I was like, I was just saying. Didn't want to upset anyone. Fucking mental, man. I get so desensitized about terrorism now. I don't even care anymore. The first big one, remember the big one where the planes hit the buildings and the buildings... I can't remember what date it was, but the fucking... And every terrorist attack since then, just fucking whatever. The one in Glasgow where the guy was in flames and he drove his flaming car into the airport. The first thing that went through my brains when I saw that was, "Oh, you fucking cunt. Now I'm going to have to put my toiletries in a plastic bag." Take me shoes off, you're wasting me time. Fuck. My brother's a mental case. He's been mental my whole childhood. He can't help himself. He's older than me, but he's just fucking wired wrong. Something in his head. I'm gonna tell you, I've never told this on stage before. It probably won't get on the DVD, but this is just something funny. Me and my brothers were talking. Whenever my mother's a great big fat woman, she still is. She's 18, 19 stone or something. She'd always used to get us to go out and get the washing off the line, and she'd always be in the kitchen going, "Go get the washing off the line, make sure you fold everything," and yelling at us while we were doing it, right? When I was about 10 and Scott was about 14, and we used to go out there. Whenever we got her underwear off the line, we would get on either end of it and fold it like a flag. like, if that's not funny, nothing is. So, one time, me and my brother at home, right, just the two of us, and he's about 16, I'm about 12, and my mum and dad are out of the house, and my brother Scott is on the couch, and he looks over at me and he goes, "Jim, get me a Coke." And I went, "Get your own fucking Coke. I'm not going to get you a Coke." And he went, "Get me a Coke or I'll piss on the carpet." "Piss on the carpet, you mad cunt. I'm not going to get you a fucking Coke. Get me a Coke or I'll piss on the carpet. I'm not going to get you a Coke." So my brother stood up, walked to the middle of the living room, which is a longer distance than getting himself a fucking Coke, pulled out his cock, started pissing on the carpet. He's looking at me going, "You really should have got me a Coke. Why wouldn't you get me a Coke?" Does his fly up, goes back to the couch, doesn't get himself a Coke. So I just fucking left the puddle of urine there. My mum comes home, she's fucking furious, right? Big puddle of urine. She goes, "Who did this? Who did it?" And I went, "Scott did it." She looked at Scott and she goes, "What did you do that for?" And he goes, "I told Jim to get me a Coke or I'd piss on the carpet." And my mum turns to me and goes, "Why didn't you get him a Coke? You know he's fucking mental." I'll tell you another brother story. This one's a bit sad. I don't know if when me and my brother were young, my dad was doing that thing where, you know, when you're being taken to the dump yard, the tip or something like that, when you were a little kid, that was better than going to a football match. That was just like the best day ever. Because you never knew what you were going to find at the junkyard, did you? You'd just be there, standing on the pile of shit, going, "Dad, you have to see this. We got to take it with us. It's a fridge. It's only missing a door." So we're loading up all this stuff from out of the garage, emptying old boxes and whatnot. My brother, I don't know, I'm about 9. No, I'm about 5. My brother's about 9. My brother pulls a vibrator out of a box just like this. And my dad does that fucking dad when they're nervous walker. He goes, "Hey, what you got there?" Right? And then Dad goes, "Oh, I'll take that off you." Now, as soon as we see that little walk, we know that's something fucking important. And we're just going, "Dad, what is that? I have to fucking know what that is. I have to know. What is it, Dad?" And Dad sees his two sons and he sort of smiles wryly to himself and goes, it's a massager." My dad turns it on and goes, "Oh, that's lovely. Oh." And he goes, "We'll turn that off. We'll put that back in the box. We'll put that box way back up here. Won't look at that again." Okay, about a few days later, my brother comes into my bedroom and goes, "Jim, garage." And we go to the garage and then we pile all these boxes up. We get the vibrator out. It's about 40 degrees heat. And my brother looks at me and he goes, "Now you massage my back and I'll massage your back." Now this is a standard old brother trick. Older brothers do this. You push me on the swings, I'll push you on the swings. And what happens is you push them on the swings for like 10 minutes and then they push you for like a minute, tell you it was 10 minutes and that you're retarded and you can't read the time. So we both take our shirts off. Now we're just in our underwear, in the garage, in the dark, with a vibrator. And then I start massaging me brother's back, just. And he's giving it these ones. Whoa. And then it's my turn. I get in front. My brother holds the vibrator up. He turns it on, and then he drops it on the ground and goes, "You have to put it back up on the top shelf," and then he fucks off. Now, I'm 5 years old. What do? I cry, right? And I pick the vibrator up in the darkness, and I just go. That's when my dad comes in. To see his 5-year-old son massaging his back with a vibrator. And I'm crying. And he comes up and he goes, "Has Scotty fucked you over again, mate?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Give it here." And he holds it up and he goes, "Now, you see this? You're not to play with this. This is Dad's." Now, that sentence has haunted me. Not that this is Mum and Dad's. This is Dad's. That raises questions I never want answered. Such questions as, why the fuck was it in the garage? Why did my dad's mates never come into the house? I was happy with it being in my mum, but it's more disturbing, that story, than you know. A lot of people find me offensive. And the reason for that is there's a lot of spastics out there. Do you want to know who finds that word offensive? Not the spastics, the people who know spastics, people who are friends with spastics. If you're such a good fucking friend, why don't you bring them out tonight, you fucking cunts? Furthermore, a few years ago, I did 3 gigs for Scope. They rang me up and said, "Jim, we'd like you to do our benefits." And I said, "Are you sure you want me?" And they said, "You're the only comedian who's ever made jokes about us whilst we're in the room. So anyone who's offended, you can go get fucked. I'm spaz approved." In fact, in their review, they gave me 4 oohs, which... Now, as I said before, if you're friends with these people, why don't you bring them out? You always get some bleeding heart come up to you after a gig going, "Do you know my best friend is a spastic?" Not a spastic, but they... And then you're like, well, where the fuck are they, you bitch? Fucking... I used to work as a disabled carer before I was a comedian. And it was a good job. You felt good about yourself at the end of the day. And I saw some heartwarming things there, man. I saw some fucking miserable things, but I saw some things that made me feel good, man. I got fired for racing them. It sounds a lot worse than it is, right? You say racing retards, that's offensive, right? Call it Paralympics, goodwill. And so... Anyway, I'm going to tell you a good story that came from there. Something nice, right? I think this story is inspiring. You mightn't agree with me, but I took these 2 lads down to the beach with cerebral palsy, right? Not with the power of. It's not like they're magical. You assume they'd have some... The only real magical disabilities are dwarfs. Midgets aren't magical. They're just freakish little people. Don't worry about that joke. It goes over the midgets' heads. Doesn't go over the dwarfs' heads. People underestimate how big their foreheads are and just smacks them in the 14th wrinkle. Anyway, I took these 2 lads down to the beach with cerebral palsy, and we wheeled them down to the beach, and there's that beautiful moment when